On the news, 16 killed in fresh attack in Plateau State. A national flag still fly in half-mast in honor of late soldiers. INEC declares attack on officers as national emergency. That's the Harvey China News Now. I am Oyin Adekunle. The 16 persons have been reported killed in two separate attacks in Jos North and Riyom local government areas of Plateau State by men suspected to be headers. The attack in Dung village of Jos North occurred on Sunday night as the village came under siege with sporadic gunshots. Reports say the attackers came under the cover of darkness to unleash terror on the community, leaving 8 persons dead, comprising of 5 females, 2 males and an infant. In another attack in Kui village of Riyom local government area, just about a kilometer distance to the Yakubu Gowon airport, the attackers invaded the community on Sunday night, leaving 8 people dead and 1 injured. Public Relations Officer of the police in the state, Gabriel Oba, said the command received a distress call from the community and responded with the deployment of a combined team of security personnel and an assistant commissioner of police to repel the attackers. The country's national flags are currently flying at half-mast in public buildings, facilities and official residences across the country in honor of the late Chief of Army Staff Ibrahim Atahiru and 10 other officers who died in a plane crash last Friday. President Muhammadu Buhari, in a statement issued by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, said the directive is effective from Monday to Wednesday. The President also approved Monday as a work-free day for members of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Atahiru and officers were on official assignment to Zaria, Kaduna State, when the military plane crashed. And meanwhile, the late Chief of Army Staff Ibrahim Atahiru and 10 others who died in the plane crash in Kaduna last week have been laid to rest at the National Military Cemetery, Abuja, over the weekend. Top government officials and security officers were all present to pay their last respects to the fallen heroes who died in active service. Details in this next report. The death of the recently appointed Chief of Army Staff and 10 other military personnel came as a rude shock for the country. Solemn tears flowed freely from widows, friends, family, colleagues and well-wishers as the coffins bearing the remains of the personnel arrived for the final rites, draped with flags to honor their memory and service to country. While funeral rites for the late Chief of Army Staff and 6 other officers took place at the National Mosque in Abuja, the rites for 4 others held at the Nigerian Air Force Protestant Church. After the prayers, their remains were moved to the National Military Cemetery for interment, where the next of kin of the officers were presented with a Nigerian flag in honor of their dead. The Minister of Defense, who represented President Muhammadu Buhari at the funeral, lauded the devotion and loyalty of the late Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru to duty.
The late Chief of Army Staff inspired courage and confidence in the Nigerian Army, which informed the successes recorded during his watch. He led the Nigerian Army from the front and was a source of inspiration worthy of emulation by all officers and men of the armed forces of Nigeria. He will always be remembered for his dedication, commitment as a military officer, and his numerous landmark contribution to the Nigerian unity, peace and security.
Magashi also acknowledged the contributions made by the other deceased officers to the successes in the country's fight against insecurity.
These were among the finest senior officers in the Nigerian Army. These gentlemen were committed to the duties professionally and contributed immensely to the successes achieved by the armed forces in recent time. They will surely be missed. They were focused, courageous, and devoted to the discharge of their responsibilities. Their contributions and sacrifices to the nationhood cannot be forgotten and will continue to linger in the hearts and arch in the history books of Nigeria.
The Chief of Defense Staff also paid an emotional tribute to the late military personnel.
The recruits of Depot Nigerian Army were to be on personal parade to herald their joining the workforce of the armed forces of Nigeria. The Chief of Army Staff was to be the special guest of honor at the event. One of our finest and best pilots was conveying him along with the entourage. After landing at Kaduna International Airport, the cold hands of death, which manifested in the stormy weather, ended that journey. The sting of death. You have not stopped the fight against all forms of insecurity.
In February, 7 people died after a military plane crashed short of a runway in Abuja. The Nigerian Air Force has promised to conduct transparent investigations into these fatal plane crashes. Oyin Adekunle, TV360, Nigeria. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has described the recent attacks on its facilities as a national emergency. The commission came to the conclusion after an emergency meeting on Monday, some hours after its office in Igboeze South local government area of Enugu State was razed. National Commission and Chairman of Information and Voter Education Committee of INEC, Festus Okoye, in a statement said the attacks on its facilities in some states of the Federation continue unabated. In the latest incidents, 3 offices of the commission came under attack in Anambra, Imo, and Enugu states. INEC noted that the attackers were systemic and selective in their targets, adding that the attack on its headquarters in Anambra State is a major blow to the preparation for the governorship election scheduled for November 6th in the state. Meanwhile, Niger State Governor Abubakar Bello on Monday met with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa in Abuja. The governor's meeting with President Buhari came on the heels of the protest where hundreds of citizens blocked the Abuja-Kaduna Expressway, protesting rampant kidnappings in the area. The governor, who recently announced that Boko Haram had hoisted their flag as they took territories in the state, was accompanied by the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, and the chairman of the All Progressives Congress National Caretaker Committee and Yobe State Governor Mai Malabuni. There are indications that the visit to Aso Rock is connected to the heightened insecurity in Niger State. And leaders of the All Progressives Congress APC in the southwest have expressed strong opposition to the agitation for a Yoruba nation in the region. In a meeting held in Lagos, the political stakeholders reiterated that a united and peaceful Nigeria is what the country needs at a crucial time like this to ensure stability. Our correspondent Abisola Adebayo tells us more in this next report.
Leaders of the All Progressives Congress stepping out after a closed-door meeting on the agitation for a secession of the Southwest from Nigeria. Protests have rocked the Yoruba nation in recent times with demand for self-government. This is one of the reasons why these leaders convened this strategic meeting to address these critical issues.
We express our strong opposition to separatist agitation and hate speeches, while urging those indulging in such to desist forthwith. We renew our belief in the unity, stability, and sustainability of the country.
One of the reasons for the agitation is the issue of open grazing of cattle, which has often caused conflicts between host communities and migrant herders. The Southwest leaders have, however, pledged their support to the position of the 17 southern governors on ranching and ban of open grazing in the entire region.
We endorse the position of the southern governors taken at their May 11, 2021 summit in Asaba, Delta State, regarding ranching. We do so because such a decision will lessen tensions between farmers and herders, while also helping the long-term economic viability of both the farming and herding communities. We are mindful of the short-term dislocation this might cause, but are also mindful that this position is in the best interest of all parties concerned. We therefore recommend that the federal and state governments cooperate fully with each other to enact the necessary measures to encourage this more effective a modern method of cattle rearing.
While mixed reactions have showed the position of the governors, some analysts have described the situation as a good opportunity for the northern region to develop alternative and modern livestock management systems to their advantage.
The states, there are various states where they came from, should take up the mantle of resettling them, giving them spaces and lands, grazing lands. Let the northern states take advantage of a situation and make the best out of that situation. It's not a bad situation at all. It's not as if making the best of a bad situation. No, it is taking advantage of a situation for the better. Because if we have our ranches taken care of in the modern way, with a lot of all the sciences involved, I'm sure they will be smiling to the banks and their treasuries, and there will be the envy of other states.
The federal government has also been urged to continue allocating sufficient resources to enable the military and security agencies tackle the difficult security challenges confronting the country. Abisola Adebayo, TV360, Lagos.
And leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, has described reports claiming he endorsed the candidate for the Lagos State local government election. Tinubu denied the claim, said he did not ask anyone to step down as an aspirant on the platform of the All Progressives Congress for the position of local government chairman or councillorship, while stating that he has no preferred candidate for the forthcoming local government poll. The national leader asked those interested in contesting to pursue their aspirations and follow the party's guidelines.
Every one of you Lagosians who are members of APC, you have the right to participate in the local government as long as you are a registered member of our party. Nobody is my favorite candidate. I do encourage consensus where it is possible, and such a consensus must be ratified at the local government level during the exercise to further strengthen democracy in our country, particularly Lagos State. So it is very clear. I have not endorsed or proclaimed anybody, not one single person, as anointed candidate for our party, APC.
The governor of Taraba State, Darius Ishaku, has described the defection of Governor Ben Ayade of Cross River State to the ruling All Progressives Congress as shocking. Ayade switched camps last Thursday from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, after a meeting with an APC delegation in Calabar. Governor Ishaku was speaking to State House correspondents after a meeting with the Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Gambari, said he can vouch for the performance of all governors of the PDP, but he cannot say what prompted Ayade's decision.
All the governors in PDP are doing very well in their respective states. Possibly because we are in opposition and the pressure is on us. We are doing the best we can. The committee will do, they have done a good job. Let me tell you, they have done a good job, a very good one. But it depends on the decision of an individual and what he actually hopes to gain. You may get the best of intentions, somebody may not agree with your own intention. And so that is the point that I think is more of the governor's decision as it affects him, and that nobody can hold brief for that. For Nigeria, it shouldn't. We should hope for an opposition, a vibrant opposition that will help to put and maintain the system in going. Democracy without opposition, that is not a democracy.
Away from politics now to other matters, the marginalization and discrimination meted against the FCT original inhabitants has been described as one too many. The inhabitants have allegedly lost their political, cultural and economic rights since the relocation of Nigeria's capital city to the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Abuja. Executive Director of the Resource Center for Human Rights and Civic Education, Ibrahim Zikirulai, said the Aborigines deserve better treatments.
Structural dislocation experienced by the indigenous people of the FCT since the relocation of the federal capital from Lagos is apparent in their loss of basic political, cultural, and economic rights. The relocation has taken a serious toll on the lives, livelihoods, economic opportunities, and cultural repositories of the original inhabitants people of the FCT. There is an ongoing clash of history, cultures, and civilization from which FCT EDGs have come out worse in several respects. Because of the denial of their basic rights and the exploration of their resources, most especially prime lights, with little or no commensurate compensation, the original inhabitants in the FCT have seen their fortunes taking a turn for the worse. Being landless after the takeover of their ancestral homelands, the EDGs suffer higher rates of poverty, homelessness, insecurity, and malnutrition. The lack of access to basic services such as health and education has further contributed to the decline in the quality of their lives.
We have seen another recolonization. Please, we want to let you know, FCT land belonged to Badi, Gede, Gana, Gwandara, Basa, Igbira, Koro, Amama, 9 languages, and I would have panel report that brought the Federal Capital Territory told Nigeria that if you will make FCT as a Federal Capital of Nigeria, make sure that this population that is above 6 or 8 states in Nigeria should never be rendered stateless.
Well, let's take a break here, but still to come, Nigeria records GDP growth in first quarter of 2021. Details of that and more shortly.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it. Use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. 2 of us.
Thank you very much, officer.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, here's a quick reminder of some of our top stories tonight. The country's national flags are currently flying at half-mast in all public buildings, facilities and official residences across the country in honor of the late Chief of Army Staff Ibrahim Atahiru and 10 other officers who died in a plane crash last Friday. President Muhammadu Buhari said the directive is effective from Monday to Wednesday. Atahiru and the officers who were on official assignment to Zaria, Kaduna State when the plane crashed were buried at the National Military Cemetery in Abuja over the weekend. And we also told you that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said that the attacks on its facilities are now a national emergency after its office in Igboeze's South local government area of Enugu State was razed. The electoral umpire said the attack on its headquarters in Anambra State is a major blow to the preparation for the governorship election scheduled for November 6th in the state. In case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. At least 115,000 health and care workers have died from COVID-19 since the beginning of the pandemic. The World Health Organization chief said this on Monday, calling for a dramatic scale-up of vaccination in all countries. At the opening of the WHO's main annual assembly, Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus hailed the sacrifices made by health workers around the world to battle the pandemic.
We're pleased that for 3 consecutive weeks, though, we have seen a downturn in the number of cases and deaths being reported. But globally, we remain in fragile situation. No country should assume it's out of the woods, no matter its vaccination rate. So far, no variants have emerged that significantly undermine the efficacy of vaccines, diagnostics, or therapeutics. But there is no guarantee that will remain the case. This virus is changing constantly. Future changes could render our tools ineffective and drag us back to square one. We must be very clear. The pandemic is not over. And it will not be over until and unless transmission is controlled in every last country. WHO Strategic Preparedness and Response Plan sets out the 10 pillars that every country must apply in a tailored and dynamic way to reduce exposure, prevent infections, limit the spread, and save lives.
I will take a pause here and return with business updates. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Let's now join Abisola Adebayo for the latest in the world of business. Abisola, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Oyi. Welcome to Business News. Latest report by the National Bureau of Statistics indicates that the nation's gross domestic product increased by 0.51% in the first quarter of 2021. With the latest figure, Nigeria has recorded its second consecutive quarter growth since the economy fell into recession in 2020. According to the report, aggregate GDP stood at 40 trillion naira in nominal terms as against 35 trillion naira recorded in the first quarter of 2020, while the real GDP stood at 16 trillion naira in the review quarter. Earlier, we spoke to the Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Muda Yusuf, who explained that while the GDP growth is still marginal, some sectors showed unexpected growth in the quarter under review.
The GDP figures on sectoral basis showed a number of surprises. The first surprise has to do with the performance of the the manufacturing sector, which posted a GDP growth of 3.4%. In the last quarter, before the one that was reported, I'm talking of Q4, it recorded a contraction of 1.5%. And given what we know about the manufacturing sector, about the experiences that they have had in the last 1 year, especially around the foreign exchange liquidity, around the depreciation in the foreign exchange market, around the challenges at the ports, the purchasing power, the inflation, and the security. We never expected that we can have such a significant growth number from the GDP.
We'll take a pause here and return with stock market review. Do stay with us. Nigerian equities mounted further losses today as the bourse continued its losing streak from last week. The market saw selling pressure ahead of the MPC meeting slated for this week, and this triggered volatility of the stocks. At the close of trading today, the market declined by 0.10% to close at 38,287 basis points. Market capitalization also lose over 19 billion naira to close at 19 trillion naira today. Moving on now to our top losers of the day. According to the exchange, the losses are linked to the drop in the share price of today's top two losers, that is ABC Transnational and Nigerian OMOWURA PLC. They both recorded a combined 1 naira 80 kobo loss. On the flip side, however, that's our top two gainers. Royalex and Regalinks had a combined gains of 9 kobo. Meanwhile, the activity chart sees 141 million units of shares worth over 1 billion naira traded hands in 3,566 deals. Moving on now to the foreign scene, the FTSE, the Dow Jones and the Nikkei are all trading in the greens. London FTSE edged higher on Monday after posting its second straight weekly drop, while Signword Group gained following a strong weekend opening after a long-month lockdown in the UK. The Dow Jones also rallied more than 200 points on Monday as Virgin Galactic rocketed 21% on a successful spaceflight test, and Bitcoin and oil prices bouncing back also influenced the market as it recorded a 0.59% increase. Japan stocks Nikkei also closed in the greens as it recorded a 0.17% increase. That's all on stock market review. It's back to Oyin for the rest of the news.
Well, thank you for that update, Abisola. Moving now to the foreign scene, where several airlines have said they would avoid Belarusian airspace after the country diverted a commercial flight to arrest an opposition journalist, Roman Protasevich, an act condemned by Western powers as state piracy. The 26-year-old was traveling on Ryanair flight from Greece to Lithuania when his plane was intercepted over Belarusian airspace and ordered to land in the capital, Minsk. After a touchdown, passengers disembarked and police arrested Protasevich, who has been living in exile in Lithuania since 2019. EU leaders expect to discuss the issues at a summit in Brussels today, and NATO ambassadors will be meeting tomorrow to discuss further action. Well, it's now time for Entertainment Report on News Now.
It's indeed a beautiful day for the family members of late Afrobeat legend Fela Kuti as they all witness a significant birthday of one of their own, Yeni Anikulapo Kuti. Yeni, who is the oldest daughter of the much-loved music legend, clocked the age of 60 on Monday, May 24. Interestingly, the ever-energetic woman, who used to be a dancer for her late dad, looks almost nothing like her old age. And it looks like the celebrants will not forget her 60th birthday in a hurry, as the followers on social media and lovers of Your View show, which she is a co-host on, presented her with a brand new car to celebrate her birthday. Happy birthday to the beautiful Yeni Kuti. Ahead of the theatrical release of AYINLA OMOWURA biopic AYINLA, its producers have finally premiered its official trailer. Produced by Jade Oshiberu and directed by veteran filmmaker Tunde Kelani, the film will follow the tragically short but impactful musical career of the legendary Apala music star. The trailer shows off the film's star-studded cast: Kunle Afolayan, Bimbo Manuel, Bimbo Ademoye, Adelaoye, Omaomi Dada, and Adedimeji Latif, who stars as the titular character. Distributed by Film One, AYINLA has been confirmed for a June 18 nationwide release. That's all we have for you on the entertainment segment of News Now.
And to wrap up in sports, Real Madrid is ready to part with big money buys. The club, according to reports, is willing to listen to offers for Eden Hazard and Gareth Bale. Both players were signed by the Blancos for big money, but they have struggled to live up to expectations in the Spanish capital and could be offloaded to free up funds for further additions. Well, that's it on News Now at this time. Well, thank you for watching. I am Oyin Adekunle.